The MBRP Armor Pro exhaust is an excellent choice for the 2017 to 2022 gas-powered F-250 and F-350 owner who wants great tone, tolerable volume, and an even better price. This is about the most affordable T304 stainless exhaust you can get for these trucks, and it's going to make them sound a whole lot better. Now when it comes to volume, we're going to give this one a 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter. It's not super loud, but definitely a noticeable difference versus stock. And this is about the best combination of sound quality and price you can get, and that makes it a great addition to any build. The worst kept secret around these parts is that I really like MBRP's exhaust, and if you've been shopping around, I think you'll know that you'd be hard pressed to find a better value for your money, especially considering what you're getting with this one. As you heard from the clips at the start of the video, this does err a bit more on the side of subtlety than some other options on the market. While it's not hard to make a big honkin' V8 like the 6.2 sound good, it is easy to let things get a little bit too rowdy, and that's not what you want, especially on a truck that's built to work like a Super Duty, because you're likely going to be spending a ton of time behind the wheel. So rowdy is not the name of the game here. This one accentuates all the things we love about a big old American V8. It makes that deep characterful rumble at idle, and that just builds and builds as the revs climb. It takes the truck from a little bit humdrum to what most of us would say it probably should have sounded like stock. And it's not going to produce so much noise that it'll get your neighbors whipped into a frenzy, but it will still get your truck noticed. Now, of course, inside that means you can expect more volume than you would get stock, but it's not too obtrusive. It's just that nice low rumble when you're out cruising around, and a little bit more wail when you bury the pedal. Makes this a great option for a truck that sees daily driver use, a work truck, or something you're just spending a lot of time in. You also aren't going to have to deal with droning issues like you do with some other more budget-friendly systems, and that is thanks to the muffler that's provided here. This, despite looking like it's pretty much straight through, actually has quite a bit of baffling inside to help keep things a bit more subdued and stave off that drone. Now this system is also going to exit in the stock location, and it's finished off with this big polished tip. So from a looks perspective, it's subtle and it's clean. There's just that extra little pop from the polished tip, and because this thing is quite a bit larger than we can get from your stock system. Construction is all mandrel bent T304 stainless steel, and it's 4-inch diameter mandrel bent piping, so this will also flow a bit better than stock too. So that means you'll get some more response and a little bit of extra power in addition to that excellent rust and corrosion protection. T304 is about the best material you can get quality wise, and if you are tailing your truck, especially if you live in a place where there is winter weather like we have here in the Northeast, having T304 will not go amiss because it means this is going to last you a good long time. Pricing for this will come around $900, and that makes it the most affordable T304 stainless exhaust you can get for this gen of Super Duty. It sounds great, it looks really good, and it's not going to blow out your eardrums. And really, you can't ask for much more from an affordable exhaust. Installation will come in at a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you around 2 hours to complete. This is a bolt-on system, so there's no modification needed to your truck, though you may need to make a cut to this extension pipe depending on the size of your cab or bed. However, it is just one cut to this one singular pipe on the new exhaust, and MBRP includes instructions on exact measurements to make it simple for you to accomplish at home. We're also going to walk you through the install process now, step by step, so you can see exactly how it's done. So for that, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you will need various impacts, various ratchets, 8mm Allen socket, 10, 13, and 15mm sockets, a hanger removal tool, a tape measure, a marker, and also not shown here is a metal cutting tool, a flap wheel, and a jack and jack stands. What's up guys, today we're going to be doing an exhaust on our F-250, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory setup, and we'll see you when you get back.
First thing we're going to do, we have our vehicle up on a lift. If you're at home and you don't have a lift, you want to jack your vehicle up, make sure you got jack stands under to support it very well. Once we get under here, we're going to start with PB Blaster and lube up our bolts that we're going to be loosening, one up here, 2 back here behind the muffler, and the rubber exhaust grommets. We're going to lube them up and let them soak a little bit so that way it's easier for us to pry and get them off. Now, the first thing, I've already sprayed everything. Everything's been soaking for a little while. So what I'm going to do first, take my 15mm, get under here and start removing my first clamp. Now I'm going to loosen this clamp up. I'm not going to take it all the way off. I'm just going to make sure it's pretty loose, and then I'll give it a smack with a hammer to open it up. That'll give us access to get this pipe off. Next, we're going to go to the back. There's two nuts holding up a bracket that holds the hanger for the back muffler. We'll get those loose, and then we'll start on our rubber exhaust grommets. Now, this clamp here, we're going to remove the two 13 millimeters and take this bracket off. And that'll release that. This is actually welded to the pipe, but that releases the bracket there. Now we'll start removing our rubber exhaust grommets. So now to make this easier, I'm just going to remove the two 10 millimeter bolts right here that hold this rubber grommet on. Even though I sprayed it, which is still good, I'm not going to wrestle with it with a pry bar under here. I'm just going to remove these. Then when I get it on the ground, I can take my grommet removal tool and pop it off and make it a lot easier. And then we'll just reinstall our mount here before we put the new exhaust on. Now I'm going to do this same thing on the back grommet and get that one off so that the exhaust hangs down. Then we'll be able to wiggle it and get it out from underneath there. So now I'm going to make this a little easier by removing the 10 millimeters that hold this bracket on. There's actually 4 of them, 2 on each side. So now you're just going to want to repeat the same procedure on the other side of the bracket. So now that I got everything unhooked, we're ready to take it out. I got Joe here to give me a hand. We're going to slide it off and fish it through. If you're doing this on the ground, you might have to make some cuts to get it out. But we should be able to fish it through and take the whole exhaust off in one piece.
All right guys, welcome back. Now that we have our factory setup off, we need to grab our mid pipe first, and you may or may not need to cut this down depending on the cabin bed configuration that you have. You have to refer to the manufacturer's guide. For ours, we have a Super Crew with the 6.8 foot bed, so we're gonna need to trim 16¼ inches off of this pipe. You always wanna measure not from the slip joint end, from the open end up here. We got our tape measure. Come in 16¼ inches. We're going to mark this in a few spots around the pipe. That's just going to make it easier for our cut. Now, especially if you're going to use a handheld cutting tool for this, making several marks around this is going to help you keep a nice straight cut. Now that we have this marked, we're going to take ours over to our chop saw, but if you're doing this at home and all you have is like a sawzall or a cutting wheel, that will do just fine as well. Again, you just want to make sure to have plenty of marks. You could even connect them to kind of just have a better, straighter guide. So now we're over at our chop saw. We've got everything lined up on our blade, and we're going to cut this down to size. Now you always want to remember when you're cutting metal to wear eye protection at the very least. Definitely don't want metal in your eye. It sucks. So chop this down. So now that we have this cut down to size, we need to clean up and deburr the inside and outside of our cut. Definitely want that to be as smooth as possible. So we've got ourselves a flap wheel. If all you have is a file, you can use that as well. You want to make sure this is nice and as smooth as possible on the inside and the outside. We'll be good to go. So now that we have everything prepped, we can start installing our system. So we'll grab that mid pipe. And now this does have a spot for the factory locator dowel. We'll get this on. You also want to make sure to install your clamp onto your slip joint. Slide that in, get that seated. Then we can come in and we're just going to snug this clamp down for now. We want to allow a little bit of room for adjustment if needed. We're going to grab our 15 mil socket on our impact and snug this down. Next, we can install our muffler on our mid-pipe. Now we want to install our hanger clamp first. We'll slide this onto our mid-pipe. We're going to get our muffler in place. Slide that in. We'll get our clamp over our slip joint. This may be a little bit tight. You also want to line your hanger up with your factory isolator. Get that in place. It's going to help us line this up. Now we're going to get a pole jack underneath our muffler to help us kind of position this. Then we'll snug down this clamp, again with our 15 mil socket. Now we can install our overaxle section. So once again, we'll get our clamp over our slip joint on our muffler outlet. We'll send our overaxle over our axle. Get this lined up with our slip joint. If you need to, you can use the pole jack. Raise your hangers into position so we can get those into our factory isolators. Next, we'll snug this clamp down. Now we can install our tail section. So once again, get this clamp over our slip joint. We're also going to install our factory rear isolator onto our hanger. Get that in position. Slide this on. Now it may be a little awkward at first. Get it on, you want to line up the isolator relatively. You want to make sure this fully seats. Then we can get that isolator up into position and reinstall our mounting bolts. Now we've got our isolator lined up with the bracket. I'm going to reinstall those 10mm bolts. Once you get one in, it should hang pretty nicely. We've got 2 on the outside and 2 on the inside. Now we'll come back in and tighten those down with our 10mm socket, our impact. Now because of the larger diameter tubing, you may need to use a ratchet for these inner ones. So now you want to make sure your tail section is not going to hit your heat shield for your spare tire. And then we'll come in and tighten down this clamp fully with our 15 mil socket. Now we can install our tip. Slide this on, it's facing straight up, and we'll use our 8mm Allen socket on a ratchet. I recommend using a hand ratchet to tighten this tip. We'll tighten this down. Now we'll go back and fully tighten everything else down. Now we can fully tighten the rest of our clamps with our 15 mil socket. We'll tighten down our muffler inlet clamp, as well as our mid-pipe. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our MBRP Armor Pro single exhaust system with polished tip and side exit for your 17 to 22 6.2 liter F-250 and F-350 Super Duty. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-250, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.